Thank you everyone for joining us for this information session. Tonight we will be discussing the online and part-time graduate programs in data science offered at the Whiting School of Engineering at Johns Hopkins University. My name is Cheryl Williams, and I am the Recruitment and Marketing Specialist for the Whiting School of Engineering. With me tonight is Dr. James Spall. Jim is co-chair of our data science programs. He also chairs our programs in applied and computational mathematics. He is a research professor in the Department of Applied Mathematics and Statistics for our full-time programs at our Homewood campus in Baltimore, Maryland. He is also a principal member of our technical staff at Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Laboratory, where he has worked in diverse areas within the fields of statistics and control systems for 34 years. He has published extensively in the areas of control and statistics, including 2 books, and holds 2 U.S. patents for inventions in control systems. Jim, would you like to say hello?
Good greetings, good evening. Good to be here.
All right, thank you, Jim. Also with me tonight is Dr. Thomas Longstaff. Tom is also co-chair for data science. He is also the chair of the computer science, cybersecurity, and information systems engineering programs. He began his role as chair in 2010 while serving as the chief scientist for the cyber missions branch of APL. From 2012 to 2014, he served as a senior computer scientist for the U.S. Department of Defense. And in October of 2014, he returned to APL as a principal member of their technical staff, where he works today. Tom, would you like to say hello?
Yeah, welcome everybody. I'm glad to see you all here.
All right. Completing our panel this evening is Dr. Eleanor Klan. Eleanor is the program manager for data science. She is also the program manager for our programs in computer science, cybersecurity, and information systems engineering. She began her career at APL as an associate staff mathematician. She has served as an instructor for our programs for over 32 years. She currently teaches a course in data structures and also serves as the associate chair for these programs. Eleanor, would you like to say hello?
Hello, everyone. I look forward to working with you.
All right, thank you, Eleanor. For tonight's presentation, we'll start off with an introduction to Johns Hopkins Engineering. Next, Tom and Jim will discuss with you our online and part-time degree programs in data science. Then we'll review some helpful information on tuition and payment options, talk about next steps and important dates, and we'll end with a live question and answer session. If you have any questions at any point in the presentation, please type them into the questions tab on the control panel. If you are joining us via a cell phone or a tablet, simply select the question mark to access the questions section. We'll address all questions at the end of the presentation. So why study engineering at Johns Hopkins University? Johns Hopkins University was founded in 1876 as the nation's first research university. The School of Engineering opened its doors in 1913. And in 1915, it began offering part-time engineering coursework as night classes for technical workers. Since then, we've grown to offer more than 20 master's programs that can be completed part-time. 16 of these programs can be completed entirely online. Our programs are designed by people who thoroughly understand your industry. Our faculty are expert and working engineers and technical professionals. Our faculty and instructional designers also construct new and update existing coursework every year so that it includes the most up-to-date information. In addition to our part-time programs, the Whiting School of Engineering has over 25 research centers and institutes. This includes our strong partnership with the Applied Physics Laboratory in Laurel, Maryland. We also offer full-time bachelor's, master's, and PhD programs in residence at our Homewood campus in Baltimore. Our online and part-time programs are led by respected senior engineers from our Applied Physics Laboratory and faculty from our full-time programs. We are ranked in the top 25 best online graduate engineering programs by U.S. News & World Report. We are ranked 6th for Best Online Graduate Computer Information Technology Programs. And of all the schools that are included in these rankings, we have the largest online part-time student population. So not only will you have lots of fellow students going through a similar learning experience, but these rankings really speak to the quality of our programs regardless of our size, and our school is experienced and well equipped to help you navigate graduate education as an online student. The degree that you earn studying with us part-time is of the same quality as our full-time degree programs. Your diploma will not say online or part-time. You are eligible and highly encouraged to participate in commencement. And as a graduate, you will be one of more than 28,000 Whiting School alumni and will join our esteemed international alumni community. So that is an overview of who we are and the value of our programs. Now Tom is going to talk to you more about data science. Tom?
So let me start with just a quick program overview for data science. When Jim and I put this program together, we really wanted to put something that balanced the theory and practice of data science. We looked around quite a bit at the number of programs that were already available in the area, and what we found was a lot of the programs didn't build on a rigorous computer science and mathematics foundation. So they spent a lot of time in the graduate curricula basically looking at statistical-based tools and other sort of lightweight computer science techniques, because they didn't really provide the start with the background to get into great technical depth, to get into the more advanced topics that are so essential today for getting a foundation and sound practical skills sort of within data science. So that was the general idea as we put together the kind of program that we have. We also do offer a postmaster certificate. This is for those students that already have a degree in data science similar to the one that we offer. This is not for students that have just any given master's degree, but these are for students who have covered all of the basics that we would currently offer in the data science masters and wish to go on to even more advanced material sort of in that area. The structure, as I've sort of alluded to, is a 10-course master's. This is a professional master's program, so we do not require a thesis in order to get the master's degree. The 10 courses have to be completed within a 5-year period that starts when you take your first graduate course. So if you're taking prerequisite courses or if you have a provisional accept, that 5-year time doesn't start until you take your very first graduate course that counts as one of the 10 courses towards the master's degree. The 10 courses are divided equally between the applied and computational mathematics courses and the computer science courses. In each area, in both mathematics and computer science, there are 4 core courses that we expect everybody to master in order to get this MS degree at the end. Now, if you've had some of these courses in another program that you've taken, either as an advanced undergraduate or as another master's degree, you can waive some of these core courses and take additional elective courses from a list that we have. But if you haven't had those core courses, we feel it's very important for every master's student who graduates with a data science degree to have that foundation in both mathematics and computer science to sort of move forward. But within that, we also have an elective course in mathematics and an elective course in computer science. So there's still some flexibility to tailor the master's degree according to your specific interests. So a sample program, the core courses that I mentioned are sort of listed here. The 4 foundational CS courses are algorithms, principles of database systems, data science, and data visualizations. This really creates the foundational core in computer science for what every data science student has to know. And then there are 4 really deep foundational mathematics courses: statistical methods, optimization, models and regression, and computational statistics, that again, they serve the same purpose, but from the mathematics point of view. So that by the time you've got those 8 courses, you have a really solid foundation. And as I've said, if any of these courses sounds like one that you've already taken and mastered, you can apply to have that waived. And we'll look at the course you took before. And as long as you received a B or better in a similar course to the one that we teach, we could allow you to waive that and take an additional elective. 2 examples, just one from CS and one for ACM for electives. We just happen to have machine learning and data mining because a lot of our students want to go off into that direction. If you've looked at the newspaper or seen anything recently, you'll know that that's one of the hottest areas that's being hired within data science right now. And the other electives, though, that you can take aside from just the ones we've listed, other ones include additional database systems, machine learning, NLP, Hadoop, game theory. These are all areas that you can use to help tailor the degree to the area that you really want to focus within. And there are more electives that we're adding each year in order to provide a wider array of different things you can take. And from that, I'm going to turn it over to Jim.
Okay, well, thank you, Tom, for the good introduction there. Once again, this is Jim Spall on the ACM side, but as data science, we look at both, we wear both hats, so to speak. Consistent with what Tom said, our program is a rigorous program, and therefore that has implications in terms of the admissions requirements. And in particular, we're looking for a bachelor's degree that has quite a deep background in math and computer science, math through multivariate calculus, and computer science, including programming like Java or C++ and data structures. And I should mention that although most of our students will come in with a technical bachelor's degree, that is a degree in computer science or engineering or statistics or math, it's not necessary. Students can come in with really any degree, even a degree in humanities, as long as they have the math and computer science background. We will welcome you. The GPA requirement is generally 3.0 plus. And we do pay very careful attention to that because consistent with the rigor of our program, the academic demands are quite high. And there is a very strong association with prior grade performance and performance in the graduate program such as ours. The specific prerequisite coursework that we would expect the person to come in with is listed here, again, through multivariate calculus, typically called Calculus 3, discrete mathematics, Java or C++ programming as a minimum, and data structures. There are a few substitutions allowed here. For instance, in the discrete math area, we will allow a substitute of linear algebra or differential equations. But we do want to make sure that these are actual credit courses. So for example, if your undergraduate background lacked one or more of these, it would not be sufficient for admission to our program to go on and take it in a MOOC. So a multivariate calculus course offered in a MOOC, which might be an excellent course, I should say, would not meet our requirements because we were looking for a credit-based course, and we will look at the grade actually in that. A key aspect of our admissions requirements is also that we do not require the GRE. We have found, based on a long history with the Engineering for Professionals program, that the GRE has a minimal association with success in our program, in part because our program is mainly oriented to working professionals, most of whom have been out of school for several years. So that's a key part of that requirement. We offer several pathways to get our degree. The main one is probably the online program. So most of our students, especially those who are not local, will pursue the degree online. Some who are in the general Baltimore, Washington area may want to either fully on-site program, which is in all honesty less and less frequent now, or a mixture, a blend that is of online or on-site courses. So some of our courses are only offered exclusively in one mode or another, that is online or on-site. Several of the courses, especially the more popular courses, are offered in both modes. Some students have a preference for one or the other if they're in this area. For those taking an on-site course or multiple courses, almost all of our courses are offered at the Applied Physics Laboratory, which is approximately midway between Baltimore and Washington. On rare occasions, we will offer a course at the Dorsey Student Service Center, which is slightly northeast of the Applied Physics Laboratory towards the Baltimore-Washington airport. But that is minimal, and that is, in fact, apparently going to be phased out. So Tom went through these possible electives, and we're seeing the same list of electives here, but with the modalities shown. That is where the kind of format that these courses are offered in, I should say. So, example, you can see that the database systems, the machine learning, and are offered in an online mode. NLP, natural language processing, is only offered on site. Hadoop is offered in both modes. Stochastic differential equations and probability and stochastic differential equations offered online. Our stochastic process course is on site. And our theory of statistics course, which is an upper level sort of mathematical statistics course, is again offered online. That's a 1-year sequence, which is an option. Our data mining is online. It's going to be online. It was virtual live at the last offering, but it's being transitioned to an online mode. And the stochastic optimization is an on-site course. Again, these are electives we're looking at here, so these are not all required courses, but just give you a flavor for the modes that we offer our courses in. Our faculty have all extensive experience with aspects of data science. No one member, of course, covers all the branches that we're going to be teaching from, but each faculty member has at least deep understanding in the area that he or she covers, as well as, of course, other areas as well. Well over 90% have a doctoral degree of some type. Many are award-winning. They are, for example, professional society fellows of societies such as the ACM, Association for Computing Machinery, or IEEE. They have won many other awards, internal or external awards. Many have a management role or another senior leadership role at their organization. A good number are also active in external publishing and contribute to the general community either via conference presentations and publications or even journal publications. But I would say all of them are innovators in their own way. Again, this can take many different forms, but we're very proud of our faculty and feel that they bring so much to the table. And our program really rests foundationally on the great faculty that we offer.
All right. Thank you so much, Tom and Jim. I'm going to take the reins back here to share some additional information to help you take this next step. Before I dive into information regarding tuition and payment options, I just wanted to take a quick moment and thank you all for your great questions. Eleanor has been working hard to answer as many of them as possible. And so as you are submitting your questions in the Q&A section, do take a couple moments and scan through the questions that she has already answered. Kind of the nature of these events is that we do get a lot of repeat questions. So, just take 2 moments, scan the list of answered questions and see if your potential question has already been answered. So with that, some of the most common questions that our admissions team gets from prospective students is, what is the tuition and what resources are available to help me pay? So here it is. Our tuition is currently $4,055 a course. Our courses are each 3 credits. So this is the total tuition cost for each 3-credit course. Because our tuition fluctuates every year due to inflation, we encourage students to budget $45,000 total for their degree. This figure may exclude the cost of books and materials. I say may just because the cost of books and materials really depends upon the courses that you register for. They differ depending on the course. But in addition to tuition, you will not be paying any fees. So there's no tech fee that we charge students on a semester basis. Our online and part-time students do not pay a student union fee. When prospective students submit their application for admissions, we do not charge them a fee for their applications. There's no application fee. The only fee that our students pay is a fee at the end of their study with us, known as a graduate's fee. I do want to say here that we do have some prerequisite courses available. Jim just discussed a couple moments ago the kind of extensive prerequisite coursework that we're looking for. And so we do have some prerequisite coursework available. The cost for that prerequisite coursework is actually at a slightly discounted rate of $1,100 per class, so $1,100 per class. You have a variety of financing options available to you depending on your personal circumstance. I really encourage you to investigate and to take advantage of any employment benefits that your employer may offer. Just generally, the majority of our students are working full-time and receive some financial benefit for their education through their employer. So do contact your manager or your HR department and see what is available for you. If you are a U.S. citizen or a qualifying U.S. resident, you may be eligible to use financial aid. The financial aid that is available for graduate students is largely unsubsidized loans. So similar to that, you can, of course, finance your education through a personal loan. And if you are active or retired military and you have veterans benefits, you can, of course, utilize these to finance your education. Speaking of which, we do have a number of active duty and retired military enrolled in our online and part-time programs. If you're planning on using veterans benefits to finance your education, here are some things to keep in mind. The URL that you see here on your screen, ep.jhu.edu/veterans, has some great information on what forms you need to complete and to submit in order to utilize veterans benefits at Johns Hopkins. For students who are using Chapter 33 post 9/11 benefits, the Department of Veterans Affairs sets an annual cap on tuition for private schools. That cap is $21,970.46, and that's for an entire academic school year. So it includes the fall, spring, and summer semesters, and then renews every fall. So 5 courses will come in under the tuition cap. The cost for 5 courses is $20,275. The cost for 6 courses, however, will exceed that tuition cap. The cost for 6 courses is $24,330. Johns Hopkins is a yellow ribbon school. How yellow ribbon works at Johns Hopkins is that it is applied only if the tuition cap is exceeded. And if it is exceeded, qualifying students can receive up to $1,000 per year, and it's awarded on a first-come, first-served basis. The last thing I wanted to mention on this slide is that the Harry W. Colmery Veterans Educational Assistance Act of 2017, otherwise known as the Forever GI Bill, was signed into law. This law expands on the veterans education benefits offered through the Chapter 33 post 9/11 GI Bill. For example, it removes the benefit expiration dates for those who were discharged or released from the military on or after January 1st of 2013. So if this is you, you now have an unlimited amount of time to utilize your veterans education benefits. They do not expire. For more information on the Forever GI Bill, I encourage you to visit military.com and just search Forever GI Bill. There's a lot of really great other benefits included in this bill. You know, depending on your personal circumstance, you could be more could apply to you. If you're located outside of the U.S. and are interested in studying with us, here are some helpful tips to keep in mind. International students are, of course, welcome to study with us from their home country through our online programs, whether you study with us on-site or online. Here are some additional admissions requirements for those students. International students must submit an international credit evaluation of any credit earned at non-U.S. institutions. We request that students go through WES, which is a third-party credit evaluation service for this credit evaluation. Students also must, international students also must submit proof of English proficiency via, for example, qualifying scores on a TOEFL exam. On-site students, in order to maintain their F1 visa status, students must enroll full-time, the definition of which right here is on your screen, as well as provide proof of financial support to cover annual living and education expenses. Next steps and important dates. So if you are interested in enrolling in our data science program, your first step is to submit your application. You can do that by visiting the URL that you see here on your screen, ep.jhu.edu/apply. Next, you'll submit your academic transcripts and your professional resume. We have rolling admissions here for our online and part-time students. Typically, it takes 4 to 6 weeks from the time that we receive a student's complete application, so that's their online application plus their transcripts and resume. 4 to 6 weeks for the admissions department and the academic department to review the full application and then issue that prospective student a decision letter. So with that in mind, here are some important dates. Spring registration is already open. It opened on October the 26th. And our spring semester actually begins on January the 29th. So if you are interested in studying with us in the spring semester, I encourage you to submit your application as soon as possible, ideally well before December the 15th. So that is the end of the prepared portion of this presentation. Now I'm going to turn it over to Tom to answer some of your questions. Tom?
Thank you. So I hope you'll notice that Eleanor has been really knocking a lot of the questions down as they've come through. So I'm not going to reiterate any of the questions that have sort of already been done. I will cover, let's see, the first one I'll do is Richard Lee. Do you publish deep course details and assignments and texts and resources used? Richard, there is a set of our web pages on the site put aside for course homepages. Those course homepages really provide a lot of details to include exactly how the courses are assessed and what texts and resources. Not every paper that's assigned, but it would give you at least the major textbook and the various kinds of materials that would be necessary for the course. So those are available on the course homepages on the website. Will there be any assistance in placements? Latalia, that's the question I'm reading from you now. We don't specifically have a placement office in EP. There is a placement office as part of Johns Hopkins. And that placement office will welcome calls from any of our graduates, any of our students to sort of help with that kind of a thing. For more information, again, I would check that office on the main jhu.edu website. The way that placements are handled are basically through that office on campus. Okay, so Yazid, can we acquire the prerequisite course in Johns Hopkins prior to starting? So what I would strongly recommend is if you want to join the data science program but don't know whether or not you would have to take the prereqs, I would encourage you to apply. What will happen if you apply and if your background is suitable is that you would get a definitive set of prerequisites that would have to be completed prior to starting the graduate courses. But because you would have an advisor as part of the application process when you were accepted, you would be able to determine whether the courses you were taking either close to home or online through our prerequisite courses would meet the prerequisite that you need. It's very helpful to you so that you don't basically waste your time taking courses that will not count as prerequisites on our program. So I would strongly encourage that. Yeah, Abraham, you said took an engineering degree on the master's level in the Netherlands. Is this a problem? It's not a problem at all, but as you'll recall from where Cheryl talked about some of the additional requirements for international students that are applying, you will need to get those evaluated. So you'll have to get the foreign credential at west.org evaluation. Thank you, Eleanor. Joseph, how many letters of recommendation are required with the application? Well, none. So we don't actually require or use letters of recommendation. We do use your resume, and we do use even more strongly your undergraduate transcripts. We find those are the best predictors of success within our program. Ranga, please explain about the certificate course. What courses constitute the certificate? So the certificate is, as I mentioned during the presentation, for those students that have completed the core of what we would expect to be the data science master's program. So what we would do if you were accepted to the postmaster's certificate is we would obviously identify any courses that would be required because they were not part of your original degree, but the rest of them would be drawn from the electives. So you would take 6 courses in order to get the postmaster's certificate. Those 6 courses would typically be drawn from the electives to augment the master's degree that you already had within data science. Marnie, you got that one. Let's see. Let me skip down a little bit.
Tom, there's
Yes.
a couple questions higher up for Jim.
Okay. Yep.
There's a question, somebody asked if the applied math courses or if the statistics courses require any programming.
Jim,
Some do. Yes, this is Jim Spall again, getting back on. The answer to that question in terms of the programming is that some of them do. Most will rely on something like R or MATLAB. Many of our students, of course, will use something a little bit more fundamental, such as C++. But yes, a good number of our courses have some programming aspect to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jim, another follow-up question for you. Are there any review courses for calculus or differential equations? This is from Mohammed.
Right. Yes, there is. We have a course called General Applied Mathematics, numbered 625201, which is a broad brush review from Calc 1 through elementary differential equations. So it's a very fast-paced course. It's obviously not a substitute for the original courses that you will presumably have taken at some point, but it does bring people up to speed. That's the intention of that course. Many students who have been out of school for at least several years feel comfortable taking that course first. And as Cheryl mentioned, these prerequisite courses are offered at reduced tuition. Okay.
So I'm going to run back down and look for some more of the questions sort of down here in the list. There's one from Sujit, is the TOEFL needed for students that did their bachelor outside the US? If you have a lot of experience working in the US. So there is a waiver process for the TOEFL. Again, I would recommend that you go to the site specifically that identifies international students, and they can walk you through the process of what you need to do if you want to try to waive the TOEFL. That's within that. Is there a list of the prerequisite courses available at the lower tuition rate? This is from Jess. Within our course catalog, you can see it's all of our 200 level courses that are offered within the data science portion of the catalog. So if it is a 200 level course, that is one that we would consider to be a prereq course available at the lower tuition rate that we have at the moment. Let's see. Is there a tentative acceptance to a dual enrollment option? Is it possible to be qualified in terms of having the GPA and CS, but you have to take the mathematics? So this is from Simon. Jim, do you want to take that?
Well, yes. I mean, Tom mentioned the fact that if you feel you are lacking in some of the prerequisites coming into the program, you can go ahead and apply. If your overall record looks strong, we will give you a conditional acceptance, whereupon you would have to take the prerequisite courses. And as Tom mentioned, working with an advisor allows that choice to be very precise, so you do not waste time. Some of the prereqs, again, we offer, and some you may have to take outside of Johns Hopkins.
Khalil, you were asking what the cost difference is for prerequisite courses. Cheryl, can you go over those costs again briefly?
For the prerequisite courses? The cost for
for the difference between the prereqs and the regular. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So the regular courses are $4,055 a course. The cost for the prerequisite courses are $1,100 per course.
Mm-hmm. And Sujit, the way you would roll in the prerequisite courses is just as you would for any of the other courses that you will take, done during registration. You would simply sign up for those courses if you're taking them online, or you can take them elsewhere, if especially if you have the pre-approved, and submit to us transcripts that show completion of those courses with a sufficient grade. Daniel says, are employers seeking out Johns Hopkins Masters in Data Science program graduates? So this is a reasonably new program. So I'll give you two answers. The general answer is one I think you could see from pretty much any magazine or newspaper that you open, that data science is the hot field that everybody is trying to hire. I will say that a large percentage of our graduate students historically have been people where their employer is paying for their degree and they're looking for advancement inside of their current company. As we expand the data science program, I would expect to get more experience with other organizations that are seeking out Johns Hopkins data science graduates specifically, but I don't have a lot of experience in that quite yet. Let's see. What provision or facilities are there for students who wish to apply graduate credit from other schools toward this program? Eleanor, can you take, oh, I'm sorry, you've already answered that. That's great, thank you. I think actually I'm being delayed on the answers that are popping up. Let's see, I'm gonna skip. You have a list of employers. I think I pretty much handled that a moment ago. Jim, there's another thing on, do you offer the calculus prerequisite courses online?
For Calculus 1 and 2, not currently. That is not currently within EP. Calculus 3, yes. We offer that right now in a what's called a virtual live mode, but we are going to be transitioning that course to an online mode. So a virtual live mode is one that you can take remotely. It's sort of in between a face-to-face and a fully online course. The lectures are given in a classroom, but they are recorded, and material is exchanged in an online mode. So, for example, all the homework submissions could be done online. Exams can be arranged to be taken generally in a remote location. So it's like I said, a partially online environment. The current version of our Calculus 3 course is offered in that mode, but it will become a fully online course within the next year or two.
Okay. So gone through graduate school before, and it was a much harder process to apply. What's the rationale for making it so easy? Well, Pablo, the rationale really is we've got a lot of experience on what makes a successful graduate student, and that's where we focus. We don't think a GRE is a good predictor of success, nor are letters of recommendation, nor are personal statements. So we focus on the things that tend to lead to the most success, which we find are second half undergraduate GPA and the overall GPA as an undergraduate, and your work experience that you have as part of your resume. So those are really the places where we focus. So I'm actually happy to hear that you think it's much easier than other graduate programs. We are not trying to make it more difficult for you. Let's see. I have a 3-year mathematics undergraduate from India. Currently have 24 computer science undergraduate credits. Will that be suffice to enroll in the program? So this is Kaushik. So I will say that we evaluate, I'm going to use this as an opportunity to say that we really evaluate each individual background uniquely when we have all of the material. Once we have your resume, we have your undergraduate GPA, we can look at it. We can make the decision as to whether or not it makes sense for you to enroll in the program. That's why I encourage you to apply. It's one of the reasons we do not charge an application fee. And we do not really pre-evaluate anybody. So don't worry about trying to send your background to us personally email to say, should I apply? The answer is yes, you should apply and you'll get a definitive answer. That's sort of the way that would actually work. Let's see. Starting a data science project in January. Any chance you can work with a faculty on choice of course and discuss work projects? Mohammed, this is really the nature of why we assign an advisor early in the process. So as soon as you successfully apply and are accepted into the program, you will have an advisor that you can talk with on course selection, discuss how it interfaces with your own goals and what you're trying to do with regard to work. So that's really the way that we approach that. Let's see. Is this course open for professionals from any state in the US? Vera, yes, we're open from any state. I think I can say that. And we're open internationally. So, Eleanor, just to check me on that, are there any states in which we cannot offer this degree?
Yes, there are a few, actually. I would have to look them up. It is in our catalog.
Yeah.
And
so
those
Vera, please, yeah, check that in the catalog.
Those are restrictions that stem from those states. It's not us.
Yeah. Let's see. I attained my undergraduate degree from a U.S. university via an affiliation and extension program. Do I still need to get that WESCAP evaluation? Eleanor, I'm going to turn that to you.
So if the degree was awarded by the U.S. institution, then no. So if it says, you know, if it was an extension program through the University of Pennsylvania, just to pick something, and your diploma says University of Pennsylvania, then no, you would not need the evaluation.
And Eleanor, can you continue and talk to Shirley about the credit verification in TOEFL for Canadians?
Okay, yes, if you went to a Canadian school, you still will need the WES evaluation. The Canadian schools generally use a different system than the schools in the United States. Typically, however, you would not need the TOEFL. Canada's considered an English-speaking country.
So Elton says, can I be exempted from taking English tests? So I think we've answered pieces of that question, Elton, throughout, but essentially, if you're an international student, you have to take the TOEFL unless you actually fill out the waiver form and have a reason to waive that. And again, you can find all the information on that online. Is there a portal site to check the status of my application? This is actually a request that I hear reasonably often. Cheryl, do you want to say anything about a possibility of a portal in the future?
Sure. I believe that the university is looking to kind of upgrade its the system that houses all the student information, including applications and things like that. So hopefully within the next year or so, we'll have a nice application portal where prospective students can kind of check their status. At this time, we do not have an application portal. If you have questions regarding the status of your application, you can, of course, reach out to one of our admissions coordinators. Their contact information can be found on our website.
Okay, so Elton, I'm very interested in AI and deep learning. How deep would this program be in discussing these topics? So AI and deep learning are very popular topics. They're covered both in the introduction to the basic data science course. They're also covered in different pieces across the program. And as you get into the electives, you can specialize within those deep learning areas. So we can get reasonably deep in deep learning in terms of what you could study. I will tell you, Elton, just from knowing what it is, that when you really get into deep learning, you'll realize that what you're really talking about are several different techniques to include various types of learning as well as neural networks. And instead of just calling it deep learning and talking about it at a buzzword level, you'd actually get into exactly what it takes to do deep learning within this topic area. So this is from Kyle. I have a background in humanities. Should I look at the prerequisite planning documents, complete the prerequisites, and then apply to the program? Kyle, I would not recommend that you do that. I would recommend that you apply first before you begin completing prerequisites. The reason being, we find that sometimes students misunderstand exactly which of the prereqs they need based on their background. And if you apply first, you get a very definitive set of prerequisites and an evaluation of your background to know if you take those prerequisites, would you still be accepted into the program. So I really do strongly encourage you to apply before you begin taking those prerequisites. Vera, can we substitute graduate level C for C++? Again, maybe. We actually expect competence in Java, as Eleanor has just put up. But be sure that you submit your transcripts, and we will look at them individually and let you know exactly how well we think you come to meeting the prerequisite. Let's see. Can I clarify, assuming we are other qualified by GPA and Java, whether or not we can be admitted to begin taking courses while simultaneously completing the rest of the prereqs elsewhere? You must complete all of the prerequisites before you begin taking the graduate courses, whether you take them with us or take them elsewhere. We have to have seen that you have successfully completed them before we will allow you to begin taking the graduate courses. And that's true whether it's in mathematics or in computer science, either way. Let's see. So Deepa, the PhD offered by computer science provides machine learning and data intensive computing. Can the EP MS Data Science courses be used to fulfill the 8 courses needed on the 1-2-3 PhD program? Okay, so Deepa, where you're going is where you really have to get in touch specifically with the PhD program and go through this in much more detail than I can just do based on what you provided here. This is really going to be talking with the computer science department, which is a resident PhD program, and talking about how this master's or the courses within the master's degree would be folded into the PhD program. What you would mostly find is that the computer science department would rather you were a full-time resident student of their master's program, full-time master's, and not switch between the EP part-time master's and the PhD program. But everybody's situation is different, and there's quite a bit of flexibility that can be had there. So I'd strongly recommend that you investigate that within the computer science department on your own, with your own background. Let's see. If I already have a master's degree of financial engineering, can I just provide a graduate transcript? Do you still need to provide an undergraduate transcript? We will still want to see your undergraduate transcripts. This is because many of the relevant courses, even if you have a master's degree in financial engineering, might have come or probably did come from your undergraduate background. So we would still require the undergraduate transcripts as well as your financial engineering graduate transcript. Are any non-open source programming tools used in the courses? If so, are there associated fees required to purchase licenses for these tools? I'll turn it over to Jim in a minute, but speaking from the computer science side, we don't use much in the way of required fees for tool licenses within the existing courses that we have. The closest thing that we do come to that is that we will occasionally use something like AWS or some sort of a different cloud environment or tool and require the student to pay for access to that site, usually in lieu of a textbook. So usually it's not, usually we're saying that if you're going to be doing that, we wouldn't also have you buy a textbook for that course. But every course is very individual in this case. Jim, do you have anything on the math side that you want to talk about with that?
Right, I can think of no case other than the usual textbooks and such where you'd have a fee like that.
Mm-hmm. I will say things like MATLAB, we do have a university license for MATLAB, so we don't require a separate license fee for anything like that.
All right.
Let's see. Do students get a chance to sit down or online one-on-one with their advisor and go through their study plan? Yes, and as Eleanor's just said, absolutely. The normal time frame to complete the master's degree in data science. So we have such a wide variety of students, it's hard to say what the normal time frame is. I will say it has to be completed within 5 years. And because it's 10 courses, it's really not practical to complete it within shorter than 18 months. But anything sort of within 4 semesters to 5 years is pretty doable within the exam. Really just depending on your own personal situation, how many courses you can take based on what your other life stresses are at the moment. Let's see, I'm gonna go down a little bit further. How do exams work for online students? And are the lectures live or pre-recorded? So the lectures are a combination of videos that you watch and readings. So none of them are live except in our virtual live format, where you have the choice of attending a live lecture online or in person, or seeing it recorded later. But the rest of the way the courses are structured are usually short videos and other reading materials, and that's sort of what is the lecture type. Exams today are pretty much done either timed or untimed using our Blackboard platform. So they do tend to be online. We don't have an exam center, and we don't today require them to be proctored, as some other online programs do require. We do, however, have extensive use of scanning and automated systems that look for any kind of collaboration or other kinds of plagiarism. So, rather than go through the process of proctoring, we tend to do it by evaluating the answers directly. Let's see. I'm trying to go down here a little bit further. Jim, how much level of statistics should be known for prerequisites?
In principle, none. Our required introductory course 625.403 basically starts from ground zero and works upwards. Now, many of our students come in with at least some prior background, and that's fine. But the course 403 does start from zero, goes fast, so that's where the background might be helpful. So if a person has no background and wants to come into that course a little bit, that's an area where something like a MOOC or similar type of self-learning type experience could be very useful. But the bottom line is we have no statistics prerequisite.
Thank you. So Daniel writes, are there opportunities for a capstone or group-based project throughout the curriculum? So Daniel, I will say that many courses have group-based projects, but certainly not all of them. There is no required capstone project, but we do have the option of when you're doing your final courses in the elective portion that you can do sort of a capstone project through an independent study. So there are possibilities of doing that individually within the program that you have, but we don't currently have a required capstone necessary for data science. Pablo says, how much time a week do most students spend per course? So again, this is a difficult question to answer because the courses vary greatly. A rule of thumb, and this is strictly a rule of thumb, you will find every course violates this rule. The strict rule of thumb would be that for each hour of lecture material, you would have about 3 to 4 hours of additional time spent in the course. So if there are on the order of 3 hours of lecture, you can sort of expect 9 to 12 hours of additional coursework in that course. But students, because of their background, because of their experience, because of their suitability for the coursework, will find it varies tremendously from student to student. Lisa asks, where can I find scholarships for underrepresented minors or women? Cheryl, do you have any answer to that?
Sure. I think that question was in regards to scholarships for underrepresented minorities. And so, unfortunately, we do not offer any scholarships for our online and part-time program or our online and part-time students. There are some other organizations that do. So I encourage you to kind of search outside of Johns Hopkins for available scholarships. Well, one particular program that I'm aware of is the, gosh, I can't remember the full name, but it's basically GEM, G-E-M. It's for graduates, minorities in engineering, and they offer a fellowship program, and that can apply for pertain to full-time programs as well as part-time programs. Unfortunately, the deadline to apply for that fellowship program was in October. I think it was like October the 15th. So it has passed, but I'm just stating that just to say that there are organizations out there. There are other scholarship opportunities out there. Unfortunately, Johns Hopkins, we don't have any scholarships available for online and part-time students.
Thank you, Cheryl. Vera asks, is Minnesota on the list? Again, I'm sorry, I don't know exactly which states are on the list of ones that we can't take. It is in the catalog, and if you can't find it there, please reach out to us afterwards and we will get an answer to you. Are there thoughts around building network opportunities with fellow students and faculty? Well, Daniel, there are always new structures being created, new social networks, new ability for these students to build network opportunities. So I would say there are some now and plenty more on the way. Today, frankly, we get a lot of network opportunities just from students communicating with each other in the same classes. The Blackboard class facilitates a lot of communication between students, and that is one way that those get built out. Deepa asks, are online courses offered through Coursera? No, they're not. We offer the online courses through our own Blackboard platform for our management system. Let's see, when is the summer 2018 session starting? Eleanor, do you know the dates for the 2018 summer session?
No, I don't know the exact dates, but it usually starts right after Memorial Day. They have the
Great, thank you. Okay, so are undergraduate transcripts required if I already have a master's degree and provide graduate transcripts? As I've said before, you really do need to provide the undergraduate transcripts as well. We need to be able to see what the courses that you've taken are that are relevant to provide the prerequisites necessary for this particular degree. And it's unlikely that your MS degree that you've taken has all of the prerequisite courses we would be looking for, but there might be some in your undergraduate transcript. So yes, we do require them both. How does this program compare with the Coursera JHU data science course? Jim, do you want to take that one?
Yes. Okay. So the program that you are referring to is offered through the School of Public Health. Of course, that's a non-credit program. Ours is a credit program. The Coursera program is a very good broad brush treatment, including potential for a project. Our program is much more rigorous, deep, and of course credit-based. So that's in a nutshell is how it differs. Now you go through course by course and show how things are different. Also in our program, there's some considerable flexibility as Tom went through in terms of the electives that you can take. So it's sort of an apples and oranges comparison, to use the usual colloquial expression.
Thanks, Jim. So a couple more. Some of these I've already sort of answered. So Sohelia said, how good is the job market during and after graduation? Excellent, from everything that I understand. And we have really designed this program to help give you the best opportunities that we can for the data science market as it's developing. Gassan says, I have a bachelor's in computer science, master's in information systems. Will I be considered? So what I'm basically suggesting is that when you apply and we evaluate your background, we'll give you a definitive answer on exactly what it is you need to take. And you won't have to reapply. We'll either accept you as a provisional student, or we'll accept you directly into the program. Or if we don't accept you into the program, it wouldn't matter so much if you took the prerequisites. So I do strongly suggest you apply, and we can evaluate based on your own history. Is any of the data science using Python, R? Yes, we certainly do use Python and R in some courses. Every course is different, but we do require knowledge of Java coming into the program because that gives you the basics and foundations for everything that you would want to be able to take on during the rest of the degree program. Let's see. Given conditional acceptance, is there a specified deadline for completing the prerequisites? Eleanor, do you want to take that one?
Okay, conditional acceptance is actually a slightly different thing. If you are assigned prerequisites, we call that provisional. You need to reply within a month with a plan for dealing with the prerequisites, which goes through an approval process. It's pretty straightforward. It sounds like a pain, but it's not really. And then the only real deadline is that you have a year from the time of your decision to start taking courses with us, whether that is a prerequisite or a graduate course. So you could go off for a year and do prerequisites and come back and your admission would still be good. Or you could start immediately with us and take prerequisites, whatever works best for your particular situation.
Thank you, Eleanor. So we've got a few more questions. We'll try to run through these without keeping you on too long. There's an undergraduate degree in physics and an MBA. So this is interesting. Ranga, you asked the question, but we would normally not accept an MBA as a prerequisite for the data science program. It simply isn't good preparation for the kind of work that needs to be done within this particular data science program. So we would absolutely need to have the transcripts of the undergraduate studies so we would know what other relevant courses you took as you were getting your physics degree from India in this case. But in general, most of what you get in an MBA is not going to lead you to immediate success within data science. So that's why we absolutely need undergraduate transcripts, and the MBA alone is not going to be sufficient to waive all the prerequisites. Mohammed asks if you can take 403 and 202 at the same time. No, you can't. We do require all of the prerequisite courses to be taken prior to the first graduate course, which for us are the 400 level courses that come into place. What is the format of tests, including the final for each course? Again, this varies very widely class to class. There is no single format that we do that's consistent across every one of the program. Some of the exams are very much essay style exams. Other are a combination of a variety of different kinds of exercises. Some courses don't require final exams at all. So it really varies very widely. Most of this you can get from the course homepages on the website. Marina says, I'm very interested in biostatistics. Is there perhaps a chance to do a couple of on-site classes in biostats for the electives? Basically, this is going to be a question that you would work out with your advisor once you're in the program. We try to be very reasonable when it comes to creating a data science master's student that really has all the foundations that we think are necessary and has depth in the direction that you want to try to go. So the real answer to this is that it depends on the specifics that we come into in that particular case. Do I think online students are disadvantaged in terms of building relationships with professors? Alexis, no, I don't. I really think in a lot of ways, as Eleanor said in the answer now, you can get to know each other even better than those students that like to sit in the back of the class and not really interact. So you're required to do more interactions online, and that tends to build the relationships sort of even stronger. And I think, let's see, is there a minimum GPA to maintain during the course of the master's program? Eleanor, can you take that one?
Sure. So we don't technically have a minimum GPA requirement. What we have instead is a minimum letter grade requirement. In other words, you are allowed 1 C to be applied to the master's degree. If you should get a second C or any grade below that, those courses would not be allowed to apply to the degree, and it would put you on academic probation. Once you would on academic probation, any grade below a B would get you dismissed from the program. So it's a relatively stringent policy. It's a little loose in the sense that you are allowed to count the 1C, but after that, it's pretty strict.
Thank you, Eleanor. And Cheryl, I think that gets us to the end of the questions.
All right. Great job, team. Everyone, thank you again for your time this evening. Thank you, Eleanor, Tom, Jim, for all of this great information and for your time this evening. And with that, everyone, thanks again for joining us, and we look forward to reviewing your applications.